Hello and welcome back, guys, to my channel. My name is Tinnitus Coach Frieder, the guy who was born deaf in his left ear and who's got a hearing aid and a severe high-pitched tinnitus in his remaining right ear for 17 years already. And today we are answering one of the most common questions that I get from people with tinnitus, and it is, what actually causes my tinnitus? If you're new here on the channel, or you just got tinnitus, then you're searching for answers, very likely. And this video is therefore for you. Because after working with over 700 people in personal coaching and in my tinnitus.club, I've seen every single possible cause of tinnitus. And here's the truth. Your story with tinnitus is individual. So when you go out there in the forums and someone posts something that this has worked for me, then it doesn't have to necessarily work for you. And today in this video, I'm going to get into why and what you can do to get better and habituate to your tinnitus. Welcome. So I'm going to start off this video by saying thank you for all the support over the last weeks and months. A lot of great developments inside my Tinnitus Club, our online community with amazing members and people. One member even got her 365-day streak, so she was so committed that she was able to do a 365-day streak and supporting other members. But let's start with the basics. What actually causes tinnitus? And there are three main categories that I want to get into. The first one is hearing loss and damage to the auditory system. The second one is stress, anxiety, or nervous system activation. And the third is physical reasons, so tension, neck and jaw, etc. And I'm going to explore all three of these different categories in a little bit of detail. So let's start with the first one. Hearing loss is the most common one. So in most cases, age-related hearing loss or noise-induced hearing loss. In my case, of course, it was noise-induced hearing loss because I went clubbing as a teenager more than I should have without protecting my ears properly. So the age-related hearing loss and the noise-induced hearing loss basically accounts for the majority of the reasons for why people start developing to tinnitus. Acoustic trauma is another one. So very, very severe and sudden noise exposure to a very loud sound is another reason. Ear infections or earwax buildup can also sometimes, in very rare cases, it's not often heard of, but sometimes can produce and cause tinnitus as well. And finally, certain ototoxic medications. I don't want to get into that because I'm not a medical professional, but for example, chemotherapy, when someone has cancer treatment, can in certain cases be ototoxic and cause hearing loss. A second one that I want to talk about today, and this one, again, they are not mutually exclusive. So any one of these major factors, and you might have a different factor, can be correlated and combined with other ones, right? So keep this in mind. There might be various reasons for why you developed and experienced tinnitus right now. A second one is stress, anxiety, and nervous system activation. So what most people don't realize, especially at the start, is that tinnitus is a nervous system condition. So it's not only a brain activation thing, it's not only a sound that you hear, but it is a nervous system condition. And what does that mean? Well, it means that when you're under chronic stress, it means your nervous system is constant fight or flight mode, right? You're constantly hypervigilant, scanning for threats. And sometimes that hypervigilance creates or amplifies tinnitus. I've worked with people who develop tinnitus during burnout, divorce or grief, very high pressure work environments, panic attacks or anxiety disorders. And what was most common in all of them, right? They went to an ENT or audiologist and they told them your ears are fine, but the nervous system was very activated. So the problem was not the ear, but the nervous system activation. The third one, and this one is also fairly common and often people have these together, remember they're not mutually exclusive, is neck, jaw, or circulatory problems, right? So TMJ, like grinding your teeth at night, yeah. So temporomandibular joint problems, yeah. Neck tension or cervical spine issues, yeah, like problem with your neck and back, constant sitting in an office like I do, probably editing this video now, yeah, can actually, lead to that. Then high blood pressure or vascular system are two other things that can create something that we call pulsatile tinnitus, where we can basically hear our pulse in the ear and perceive that as our tinnitus. These are the three core categories, right? And hearing damage, nervous system activation, and physical issues. But here's where it gets interesting. And this is where, most of you guys, especially if you've been with this channel for a while, you know these three types, but you maybe are neglecting that your story is so individual, and here's why. So after working with hundreds of people with tinnitus, and seeing many of them in one-on-one coaching sessions, many more of them in our mytinnitus.club community, two people, in my opinion, can have the exact same cause of their tinnitus. So somatic and hearing loss based, but completely different experiences of how much they suffer from their tinnitus. So let's say person A and person B. Person A habituates in 6 months. They, back to their life and barely notice it. Person B is still struggling 2 years later, although they describe their tinnitus fairly similar at the onset. And the sound hasn't changed, but the reaction has, and they've been conditioned into a struggling circle where the constant focus about tinnitus is actually reinforcing the tinnitus. So you can't really say that they're doing anything wrong. They're just different. Habituation, which is, getting used to tinnitus and developing, going from bothersome to non-bothersome tinnitus, is mostly about the nervous system's current state, right? So hypervigilance or letting go and going back to your everyday and normal life. Your history with anxiety or trauma is often very, very important for many people. Your port system, are you doing this alone or with other people together, right? Your relationship with uncertainty and control. So how do you feel about, not being in control with this is obviously very difficult for a lot of people. And whether you've learned tools, for example, of acceptance and commitment therapy to regulate your response to tinnitus, not the tinnitus itself, to regulate your response to tinnitus, right? Let me give you a little bit of another example to make this more clear. I've worked with people with multiple causes, so having hearing loss, TMJ, and burnout condition. And I've worked with people who have no clear cause at all, right? The hearing tests are perfect. They don't say they have neck or back problems. They don't feel like they have burnout or anything, but the tinnitus is still there. And here's the point. Knowing what caused your tinnitus can in some cases be helpful, right? It can sometimes reduce your fear. It gives you a little bit of clarity. For physical problems, you might go get massages more frequently, craniosacral therapy, or taking a relaxing bath once in a while. But obsessing over the cause, that's what keeps you stuck. Because in the end, the truth is you have tinnitus. And if you're watching this video, the truth is also you probably have bothersome tinnitus, right? So obsessing over the cause and going back and forth between the cause is only keeping you stuck. Because real habituation, so going from bothersome to non-bothersome tinnitus, isn't about fixing the cause or eliminating tinnitus. It's about changing your nervous system response to the sound so the brain learns it's no longer a threat, so it can stop perceiving it as such. And therefore the tinnitus goes into the background. I have very loud tinnitus, but the whole time I've been making this video, I haven't perceived it once. Because I'm thinking about what am I going to say next? How does it make sense for you? Right? And if you ask me at the end of the day, how often did you perceive your tinnitus? I will tell you once or twice. Did it bother you? No, it didn't. So that's mostly why our story is completely individual, and it depends on a lot more than just the physiological factors of why, or the factors in our personality of why we currently experience tinnitus. So why am I telling you all of this? Because I see people trying for months and years on end to find out the one thing that caused their tinnitus and trying to, if I can just figure out the cause, then I can fix it. And that might be a smart response for, when you have a spreadsheet and, you want to find out where is your money running out in certain places in your business. Or however, with tinnitus, here's the reality. Most tinnitus doesn't have some kind of reversible cause, right? You can't undo hearing loss, at least not yet. You can get hearing aids so you can hear better, and that will, make the tinnitus a little less prominent. When I take my hearing aid out, my tinnitus is a lot louder and a lot prominent. I'm still not bothered by it, but it is a lot more loud and prominent, so I can get a hearing aid for my hearing loss, but I can't get rid of my tinnitus. And my goal is not to get rid of my tinnitus, because then my brain is hooked on the fact that I should live my life without perceiving it, which is blocking habituation, literally. You can't go back in time to avoid that concert. You can't erase the stress that triggered your tinnitus in your nervous system. What you can do is teach your brain and your nervous system from now on that tinnitus is safe to experience. And that process is highly individual. What works for someone else might not work directly for you always. But it's not because you're broken, but it's because your life circumstances, your nervous system, and your history are different, and it's individual. So this is why at My Tinnitus Club, we don't treat tinnitus like a formula. In my coaching program, I don't treat every client the same way. It's important, to not be able to say, well, do these 5 things and you'll be habituated and cured. No, it's about let's figure out what you need together so you can teach your brain the right techniques to understand that experiencing tinnitus is safe. Because habituation happens, and this ultimately is the truth, and I've seen it in hundreds of people. Habituation happens when your nervous system learns safety, not through understanding, but through lived experience, not through, I know how this works, but through lived experience, feeling safe in your body. Secondly, habituation happens when you know how to deal with your triggers. Some ACT tools, some nervous system regulation stuff, some work with sleep, rest and relaxation. And the most important thing, you're not trying to figure out all of this on your own. So having some kind of caring community, a coaching, even people here on YouTube who are responding to your comments and difficulty, people who get it, that is the most important part. So here are two main things that I want you to take away from this video. Yes, there are common causes of tinnitus, but your experience is highly individual, and that's not a problem. It just means that you need a personal and individual approach to your situation. And one of the main things that I want to say is habituation isn't about fixing the cause. I said this so often now. It's about changing your response so the brain no longer pays attention to tinnitus. And you absolutely do not have to figure that out alone. So if you are looking for some connections, some tools and some support within a bigger network, then I think our ACT-based community at mytinnitus.club would be very, very interesting for you. Of course, I also have coaching availability. I have a website where my coaching availability is listed that way around. And we have a community forum where people share their wins, their setbacks and their progress, and we support each other, right? Through being able to say that this is what you experience is normal. And other people are going through it right now, exactly as you are, and you're not alone with this. So it learns safety from co-regulation, from being around other humans who've been through this and who are coming out the other side. So if you're new to tinnitus and you're figuring out what caused it and are very early to this journey of what habituation means, then go to habituate.online to get my free 4-day intro program to tinnitus habituation. And if you are here for a little bit longer and you want to get deeper into it and get more support and do the proper work, then I can recommend you check out mytinnitus.club for our online program. Thank you for liking and subscribing and letting me know in the comments what you thought of this video. I really appreciated all your support over the past weeks and months. Looking forward to many, many more videos with you, and thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in next week's video. Goodbye.